a speech on kindness, migration, and the strength of our shared humanity. My fellow citizens, there are moments in the life of a nation when we must pause, look to one another, and ask ourselves, who are we, truly? What do we value when times test us? And how shall history remember the choices we make, not only for ourselves but for those whose lives touch ours? In recent weeks, our nation has once again been confronted with the complex and often painful realities of migration. Families fleeing conflict, individuals seeking safety, children hoping for a future unburdened by fear. These are not just headlines, they are lives. And in the public square, we hear voices that urge suspicion, others that cry for compassion, and still others caught between. Today, I ask you to listen with your hearts as well as your minds. Britain has always been a nation shaped by movement, encounter, and the mingling of peoples. From the Romans to the Normans, from Huguenot refugees to Caribbean workers who helped rebuild after the war, our history is stitched together with threads of migration. It is easy, in the noise of fear, to forget that the Britain we cherish today was built not by walls, but by bridges. Bridges of kindness, of tolerance, and of courage. Yes, migration brings challenges. No one should pretend otherwise. We must manage resources wisely, support communities with care, and ensure fairness and safety for all. But let us not mistake management for rejection or compassion for weakness. For when we harden our hearts, we diminish ourselves. When we yield to prejudice, we lose sight of what makes this country great. Consider this. When a stranger seeks shelter, when a child arrives on our shores trembling from a journey few of us could endure, are we not faced with a moral choice? We may turn them away, comforted by the illusion that it is not our problem. Or we may extend a hand, acknowledging that humanity is not divided by borders, but bound together by shared hopes, shared fears, and a shared desire to live in peace. Kindness, my friends, is not a sentiment reserved for times of ease. It is a discipline, a strength, and a legacy. Prejudice may feel safe in the short term, but it corrodes us from within. Kindness, even when it stretches us, builds a society that our children will be proud to inherit. I ask you to reflect on the stories that have reached us in recent days. A mother clutching her child as they cross dangerous waters. A father walking miles with blistered feet, simply to place his family beyond the reach of bombs. Young people arriving with nothing but a memory of home and a dream of peace. These are not faceless strangers. They are echoes of ourselves, of our grandparents and great-grandparents who once faced war, displacement, or scarcity. During the darkest days of the Second World War, Britain opened its arms to those fleeing persecution. In the 1970s, we welcomed Uganda nations expelled from their homeland, who went on to enrich every sector of British life. More recently, Syrian families, Ukrainians fleeing invasion, and many others have found refuge here, and in doing so, they have repaid Britain not only with gratitude, but with energy, innovation, and love for this land. Let us not forget, compassion is not a drain upon us. Compassion multiplies. It grows into new businesses, new communities, new cultural treasures, and yes, new bonds of friendship that strengthen the fabric of our nation. Yet I know some worry. They ask, what of housing, of schools, of jobs? These are real questions, and they deserve real answers. But solutions will never be found by dividing neighbor from neighbor, or by turning fear against the vulnerable. Instead, solutions come when we choose solidarity, when government, local authorities, and communities work together to ensure resources are shared fairly, and that newcomers are supported in ways that strengthen, not strain, our society. Prejudice offers no solutions. It offers only a false comfort that by blaming others, our problems will vanish. But history teaches us otherwise. Prejudice blinds us, weakens us, and leaves us poorer in spirit. Kindness, by contrast, is practical as well as moral. Studies show that migrants, when welcomed and integrated, contribute more than they take. They become doctors in our hospitals, teachers in our schools, entrepreneurs who create jobs, carers who look after our elderly, neighbors who add richness to our streets and friendships to our lives. The Britain of today would falter without them. Let me say this clearly. Kindness is not naive. It does not mean ignoring the rule of law or failing to secure safe borders. Rather, it means that in the way we respond, in the policies we design, and in the words we choose, we put human dignity first. A nation that can be both strong and compassionate is a nation to be admired. Think of the legacy we leave behind. What if, 50 years from now, children learn in school of this moment in our history? Will they be taught that Britain chose suspicion, anger, and prejudice, or that Britain chose generosity, kindness, and courage? I know which story I want our descendants to tell. And so, I ask you, the people of Britain, in your daily lives, let compassion guide you. Welcome the new neighbor with warmth, even if their accent is different. Teach your children that kindness is a strength, not a weakness. Speak out when prejudice rears its head, not with bitterness, but with steady truth. Together, we can show that the spirit of Britain is not defined by fear, but by fairness. Not by turning inward, but by reaching outward. Not by rejecting others, but by embracing the chance to prove that humanity is at its best when it stands together. Let us rise above the voices that seek to divide us. Let us remember that every hand we extend in kindness is a stone laid in the foundation of a more peaceful, prosperous, and united nation. And let us be confident that when prejudice shouts, kindness will answer louder. For in the end, what makes us truly secure is not the strength of our borders alone, but the strength of our values. What makes us proud is not wealth or might alone, but the decency with which we treat the most vulnerable. And what will endure is not prejudice, which crumbles, but kindness, which endures from one generation to the next. My friends, we are Britain. We are a nation that has faced storms before, and each time, we have emerged stronger, not by hardening our hearts, but by opening them. Let us do so again. Now, together. Thank you.